All right, welcome back to the Chronic Couch virtual edition.
That's right.
We're exploring. We're I'm having a day with pain, a little tired, a little cranky, but I think Sunday is if you work a Monday through Friday job, I think Sunday is like the day to allow that to play out. However, that's going to be. I got a candle lit. Got some ice water and lemon. And today we're really gonna talk about at-home remedies. What
Mhm.
and ways we've definitely hit on this sporadically through the past five. This is episode 5,
This is
right?
episode 5, baby.
5. Yeah, first 4 episodes we really it's hard not to talk about natural, healthy habits, methods that can help or alleviate symptoms, alleviate pain, stress, anxiety, all the things. But first, if you don't mind sharing what you've been through the past couple weeks,
Man.
you had a surgery. So what was this? What was the surgery?
Yeah, it's been a ride, honestly. And this is, I think, kind of to double down on what you were saying first about us kind of just trying a new medium. I think this is just another cool thing about this is because we have our days, right? We're not going to be able to get on couch all the time. So it's a matter of being able to kind of meet each other where we are. And I think this is great for us to not only explore this technology, but for future guests that we want to have on that we've already spoken about. This is something that we've been talking about doing as well. So
Yeah,
bear with us today, everybody out there listening. It's a new forum for us to explore, but we think it'll just be continuously valuable for us, like in this situation and everything that's going to go forward with this. But yeah, going back to that, I think it's definitely been something. It's been. I thought it was a wild west situation before, but man, this is like
it got wilder.
it somehow got wilder, indeed. So I think
Damn.
where I'll start, as I mentioned, that on the last close of the episode, the close of the last episode, excuse me, I was going into a potential surgery, and that surgery happened. So a little background on that: I was going in for a nerve decompression and scar removal. So neurolysis is what they call it. So basically, you go in, you scrape off the scar tissue on a nerve in order to free that nerve up. And in theory, what you want to do is you want to release it from so much pressure that it's already under due to scar tissue or just various compression from other fibers that have built up over time. And in theory, what that does is it allows the electricity to continue flowing through at a normal pace. And in a normal world, that usually happens around 3 months after a traumatic knee injury or any sort of onset of this peroneal nerve palsy. So obviously, in my case, that wasn't in the cards because I was still in the hospital at that point and kind of just getting myself together. But yeah, so this was the nerve decompression, and the plan was to go in, free the nerve up from any sort of constriction. And what happens on the backside of that is you come out of surgery,
Hey, real
and
real
you
quick.
yeah.
How big's the nerve that you're talking about?
So the nerve is actually pretty, it spans the length of your entire foot. So, this is where we kind of branch out, where you and I kind of connect because you obviously have had back issues in the past. And the nerve itself branches off of your sciatic nerve. So it branches down into your lower body and basically goes down to the behind your knee. And then it branches off to become it's the common peroneal nerve. It branches off to have a superficial and a deep. So closer to the skin and then one deeper, but both of them are responsible for the dorsiflexion of your foot and the other responsible for sensation. So motor and sensory function, as we know by now, nerve function at this point. And the plan is to go in and, again, usually because of where my injury was, it's going to be one of those things where it's the superficial version where you're going to go in and try to just free that up and allow that electricity to get through. But again, what happens after surgery, or what's supposed to happen, is once your nerve is freed, it spends about a month in this dormant state, really just kind of settling in and just realizing, oh wow, I'm free. So over that month to the next 2 months, you start to get that energy back through that electricity. So you're supposed to start seeing that relatively quickly in terms of sensation and function,
Right.
but that's in a normal case. That was not the case with your boy, right?
Is
So
that is that what you were saying about 15% chance of success?
yeah, so in a normal situation, honestly, many patients see, and when I say many, I'm talking about 70 to 75% of people, they see an immediate return. So while the motor function may be a little slow because those muscles and tendons are so weak and they've atrophied over months, the sensation returns because you've allowed the nerve to breathe per se.
Okay.
But that 10 to 15% that I was talking about was my specific situation because we didn't know how compromised the nerve was. So that 10 to 15% of chance is just a fighter's chance of, hey, maybe this just helps. And you can be in the small amount of people that this can be relatively fast with the relief.
It's so wild, all the knowledge that I mean that you just spit. Uh is it helpful knowing all that, or is it just it is what it is?
Yeah.
You just explaining it makes sense, but I'm wondering if it makes sense to me because I'm in a similar boat, or yeah. Is it helping you to know all this? Is it making it more complicated, frustrating, or just all of it?
I would say it actually helps more. And again, like you can speak to this as well, right? And I think for me, the way I look at it is you have this information that, again, our bodies are doing it anyway. Granted, most people go through their entire lives, hopefully never having to know about this unless they're in medical school, right? But for you and I as patients, it's important for us to know because it allows us to ask the right questions,
Right.
and it's like that's the way I view it, right? What about you?
Same. I'm
Mhm.
also thinking get this dude an MD.
No, Chris MD coming real soon. I'm building the chat bot as we
We're
speak.
there, man.
Right. For lower leg injuries, specifically this one. But yeah, so I think it's a matter of perspective, right? It can be a lot, it can be extremely frustrating. But as we've talked about before, do we want to complain? Do we want to be frustrated? Or it's just another day in the office to us, right? Like we got to get better, and I'd rather be equipped with the knowledge to go into a meeting with a doctor or to an appointment and be on that level playing field. Obviously not degree wise, but concept wise, and that's something it equips us with because we can ask the right questions. We know which questions to poke on and that type of stuff. So I think that's where it the benefits of the knowledge far outweigh the cons of the knowledge.
Right. Well said.
Mhm. And yeah, so that's what happened. So I woke up from surgery, and my appointment for my follow-up was 5 days afterwards. So pretty quick turnaround, honestly. Usually they'll get you in and kind of see where things are going. But I go to my follow-up appointment and I go into my nerve surgeon. She's actually like, I was impressed with the amount of scarring on your nerve. And I was like, what do you mean? Then she's like, I've never seen that before, considering your mechanism of injury. And I'm like, okay, well, again, that's not the gold medal I want, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I guess that's good to know. So long story short, after our follow-up appointment, she pretty much booked me for my next surgery immediately. I think one thing that what's been very interesting in this entire process is I was very unlucky with the injury happening, but I've been very lucky in these finding the right people and getting redirected in the amount of time that's necessary. Because as you know, nerves, there's time limits on these things. So you getting in the right rooms and having the right conversations and finding the right mediums, whether it's therapeutically at home, like we'll get into a little bit later, just getting to the right, outpatient services, therapists, cold bath, like that type of stuff. It matters and it's of the essence. So I say all that to say, not only was that surgery last Friday, but I'm booked for surgery. So what was this? The surgery was last Friday, and now it is Sunday of the following week, and I have a nerve transfer surgery on Thursday of this week. So that's the big one.
And what does that entail? The transfer?
The nerve transfer is one of the wilder things I've ever heard in my life because conceptually it blew my mind, but it just also made me appreciative that we live in a time where this can even be done. Because when I explain it to people, they really can't conceptualize what it is. But basically, what's going to happen is I have about 5 inches of scarring in that peroneal nerve region, which is equivalent to concrete being blocking that electrical impulse getting through. Now, what we're going to do is she's going to go in and take healthy nerve fibers from my tibial nerve and use them as a redirect to get around the damaged section of the peroneal nerve. Right now, again, that sounds relatively straightforward. Where it really fucks people up is when I explain to them, when I wake up from surgery, when I tell my big toe to flex down and really point into the ground, my entire foot is going to raise up because I've had electricity redirected in my body. So neurologically speaking, when I tell my toe to point down, my foot's going to raise. So that is going to provide a completely different myriad of things I've even experienced this far.
And I think it's important to point out again how your nerves are connected to your neurotransmitters, and because I don't think people understand sometimes that the two are connected, and when your nerves are so out of whack, which maybe you don't have the same as what I have, but it really is a wild concept how your body is wired that way, and the fact that you have a surgeon. I mean, you said it's pretty straightforward, but even you just explaining what they're going to do, it sounds intricate.
It is extremely intricate. And I think for our listeners out there who really don't understand nerves, you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about there's 7 trillion nerves in our body. And the fact that your arteries, your veins, they're like pipes in a building, right? Your nerves are the electrical wiring in the walls. So if you think about you having this coax cable and all the fibers that are inside that coax cable, and they can be damaged, they can be compressed, they can be cut, they can be a myriad of things, but they all power your body in a way that we don't think about because most people take it for granted because they've never had the issues that you and I have.
Yep.
And hopefully they don't.
For sure. I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Yeah.
Damn, man. That's wild.
It's wild, but it's good news because again, we're in the windows in which these things matter, right? And I think that again, I think when we're in these battles of having surgeries and all these different other things that are going on, the mindset is everything. But in addition to the mindset, it's how are we also making our environment around us beneficial for success? So whether that's your friend groups, your social atmosphere, your home environment. I know we mentioned lumbar pillows. We've mentioned, having things iced to keep our legs elevated, wraps to keep them compressed. Like it's a world of things we have to go through, right? And I think that's probably where I want to hand the baton off to you because, let's get out of Surgeryville, USA.
Yeah.
Because this is, getting me thinking about it already. I'm like, let me just get to Thursday and knock this out.
Well, I'm sending you my best and looking forward to positive outcomes to come. Yeah, let's thank you for teeing me up. Let's shift gears, and I think we kick it old school and do some show and tell. I think it's just as easy as that. Again, none of these are sponsored. This is no sponsored ads yet, but I kind of just rounded up. I actually want to grab my ice pack real quick.
Okay. This actually worked out perfectly because this is a pretty good show and tell medium.
Yeah, it just made sense for today. Like I said, I'm not feeling it today. I'm almost canceled again or postponed, but I was like, this will be good. So ice has been huge for me. I actually went to a place down the street earlier and did a plunge bath. So for those listening, watching, the benefits of ice and submerging yourself is very helpful and impactful. I actually, like 2 weeks ago, I started this routine, and remind me, I want to talk about routine from athlete to an athlete. I started putting water in a silver, salad bowl, and I put it in the freezer, and then I wait till it gets like a top film of ice, crush through it, and then I submerge my face in it. I did it right before you and I got on the call. It's it's been huge. So I do that every morning too, but before work, it's like a reset, and it jolts you. It's not like coffee, it's different. It's so highly recommend that. This thing is awesome.
Well, before you get into that, I want to make sure that you did not steal this from Ashton Hall, and you're not trying to be an influencer and dipping your face in water at 3 a.m.
Dude, I didn't even. One of my coworkers showed me that video. He puts lemons in the. I don't get that. I'm your eyes. I'm sorry. I'm grabbing one more thing. No influencer here, but so yeah, this has been great. It's a weighted, filled with like beans. So this has been huge. This is a great ice pack. You can get all this on Amazon. It has like these straps, so you can strap it around. The colder, the better. I try and ice like twice a day, after a long day. My sister-in-law got me this. It's like a face roller. Look at me with all my stuff on. And this has also been good. And you think, like, how does this stuff help with your back? It's like it all is tied in to, I hate to pull the mental health card here, but it's what it is. My aunt, pre all my back stuff, she turned me on to scents, which we've talked about. And I did want to read real quick. Studies suggest that certain scents, particularly through aromatherapy, may help manage chronic pain by increasing pain thresholds and reducing pain intensity. So, and it tells you which scents are good. So this is what I use, and I like put it on my pillow before I go to bed. And it just helps you relax, right? All this stuff is to help you relax. We talked about the Epsom salt. Got 2 bags of this. I've been mixing it, so it's like you got the eucalyptus and spearmint and the lavender, and all those scents are beneficial to helping with chronic pain. Back on the Dr. Teal's.
Dr. Teal's.
Dr. Teal.
We coming for y'all on the sponsorship. Just know.
Dr. Teal's kills it. So yeah, highly recommend. I soak this on my back every day before I go to work. It's a pain relief roll-on. I've had this thing for like 3 years, and this one bottle, and it's just clutch. Get at the pharmacy. It's like icy hot. I think that's all I got, man. And we got this guy. I've been using this.
Oh yeah,
this is great, Chris. You turned me on to this. It's I don't know if you want to kind of talk about it or save that, or if we're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it now. Please do. I mean, I think what I'll do is I'll explain what it is, and then you can kind of just give a on the spot testimonial, I guess, of what it is. But again, this is something that a college teammate and good friend of mine, Max Bukowski, he started this company called Infraway, and what it is it's portable heat for your back. So a lot of the more effective heating pads out there are corded because you have to continuously draw that energy from the wall. But Max really had an issue with that, and then wanting it
Yeah.
to be portable and everything. So, he had had a couple surgeries in college, torn labrums and everything. So really struggled with pain, and he started working on this concept of this portable heat. But not only would it be topical, right on the skin level, but infrared as well. So basically what it does is traditional heating pads, they give you that surface level heat, but infrared really searches deep down for that pain point. So it's not so much a cure. No, excuse me. It's not much of a treatment. Like we're really trying to cure chronic pain, like with these things. And I think it's something that's to be said because he's gone through iterations of this company, and the product has only gotten better, right? So even the unit that you have,
Yeah.
that is something that that one's a couple years old, and the other one just dropped recently, and that's something that people out there where we want to do a giveaway. I actually have an extra unit that we're going to be giving away for this. But I think that anybody out there with back pain, I mean, just from my standpoint, it's the one thing out there that I've been able to use in any situation, whether it's warming up at the gym, light exercises at the gym. When I could drive, I use it for long drives because it's just great for your heat. I mean, great for your back when you're sitting in the car, when you're standing at your desk at work, when you're sitting at your desk at work. If you're just somebody who has low back tightness, and those foam rollers and the gel rolls, whatever it is, if it's not getting to it,
Hmm.
I highly recommend infrared. That's not just me saying that because it's my homie. I bought multiple units and spent hundreds of dollars on this because it's something that I benefit from daily.
It's been it's been huge, and I have 3 heating pads, and this one, which is you plug into the wall, is it was like the I can't even think of the words, but this one straps on to your back.
Mhm.
So it's like, right, you have like the OG ones that like are just flat and you just have to lay on it, and then you're worried your sheets are going to catch on fire, right? Because most of the time when you're on a heating pad, it's like you're in pain, you're stuck in bed.
Mhm.
So I always thought, and like this one, it's like I could walk around, but only so far because you're limited because you're plugged into the wall. Where infraway, which you blessed me with and kind of threw in my lap, if you will, has been great because when I get home from work, I throw it on. It's connected to your phone. You can set a time. It's controlled. You can control the temperature, and then I go for a walk. So it's like I'm killing two with one just by the wireless function.
Exactly.
I highly recommend it. It's been a game changer, and honestly, a lot of this stuff collectively has been a game changer, and it's all about routine. I find it when you're in the throes and in the thick of chronic pain, you lose routine a little bit and some structure, and that's so important to keep because kind of what we talked about last week, sometimes you feel like you're out of control a little bit because sometimes the pain it just takes over. But when you have a routine, for me, uh, it's really helped. So I've incorporated all these different products and alleviators into my routine, and consistency with that is key. It might seem like a little, I don't know, a little kooky or like a little like, oh, this, California dude, like with all his like, herbal whatever. But, as athletes, we, the only thing I was really told about was like Epsom salt baths. And
That
like,
was it.
even when we were like growing up and playing sports, like even that was like not hugely broadcasted. Um, so from an athlete to an athlete, how do you feel about structure and having a routine, especially when you're going through surgery? And are you on crutches right now?
No, No, I'm out here pushing around.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, how do you find structure to be part of your recovery, or is that just kind of a me and my back thing?
No, I mean, I think structure is not just a part of my recovery. Structure is a part of my DNA at this point, right? I think, we both had decades in the game of being high level athletes. And the one thing we do know more than anything is structure, regimented structure. I have to be at practice. I have to get this many reps. I have to attend this many classes, all these different things. We're essentially super soldiers in our own right on a very strict schedule towards an end goal. And I think whether it's recovery, regular life, whatever it is, you just have to realize that a routine is going to be that calm for you in the storm because it's the one thing that you can control, right? You can do all these things and have all these devices and all uh, these remedies at home, and you can control those things from sun up to sundown.
Right.
You can't control what somebody's going to say to you out in the world, or if anything happens like in a car, or when you're driving for a long time. There's so many things that are outside of our control. I think people, they're a little too they're a little too easy on letting those things creep into their mind and creep into their psyche,
Yeah.
and letting them affect them on a day-to-day basis. So for anybody, whether you are as strong-willed or as stubborn as you and I, or if you're a little bit more affected by the external noise, I just advise you to create a structure or create a routine that can keep you on the straight and narrow regardless of what's going on the outside.
Very well said. And you mentioned stubbornness, and you also mentioned this being instilled in our DNA, and that is so on point with that. Um, I wrote down a few things like just today that it's important not to be stubborn. So when you have groceries and you want to just make one trip from the car up to your apartment, it's like it's just not worth it because every time I do that, I regret it. So my advice and my tip is don't overdo it, don't over push it, listen to your body. Um, Another thing that is like a huge struggle and that's something that I dread is making my bed. So when you basically the motto is keep everything close to your body when you're back, right? Because if it's further away from your spine, you're going to be pulled forward or to the left or to the right. That's why cleaning my place is very tricky sometimes. So I would say if you can get like a cleaning person to come help you out, I think that's worth the investment, right? Because it's your freaking health. But yeah, making the bed is challenging. So like always get down super low. Um, I just started going to get my car washed. Like there's no more, I'm not washing my car anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I think acceptance is huge and being patient. And the longer that you fight that and not ignore that friction, you're going to be better off once you come to a place of acceptance. Like, you know what, I can't make the bed today, or something along those lines. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm always thinking about how to make things easier in my life and more accessible. So I think this could go for almost any injury too. It's like things high, like as simple as like it's just black and white, like putting your heavier dishes up top versus down low because you can't, you don't want to be bending down or so. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about tips and you know finding and creating ways to make your life easier, right? Because at the end of the day, like our situations can always be worse. Sometimes it feels like, where's the light at? But I mean, I don't think people understand the intensity and the severity that, like, you could have lost your leg, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
lost my leg and lost my life.
yeah. I mean,
Right.
it's that intense. And, we're gonna hopefully get my buddy on who did lose his leg. And I think he can attest to all these things that we talked about today. He was also an athlete. So I think it's also really good for athletes to come together and form a community, to talk about, life after and ways to alleviate and make the process not easier, but more bearable.
Yeah.
And finding, your zest for life again, but knowing that it might be different.
Yeah. That's
How do
true.
you I'll close that?
Of course. I mean, a little remix never hurt nobody,
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
you said something really interesting a couple of minutes ago that I think is very important because I realized that a lot of our listeners out there, again, they may have chronic issues, they may not have chronic issues. But the one parallel I think is important to draw on is this concept of on the right side, you have surrender, and on the left side, you have stubborn, right? So picking and choosing when is the right time for each one, because I think a journey of recovery, a journey of a relationship, a journey of a job, a career, whatever it is, there's
Mhm.
going to be a time to surrender and there's going to be a time to be stubborn. And depending on what you want your path forward to look like, you need to be able to discern when to use each button, right?
Yeah.
So for our situation and what you were just saying, surrendering, I know I can't get all these damn groceries upstairs in one trip. You know, 10, 15 years ago, we wasn't even thinking about making two trips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, again, you want to be stubborn because you can, because your situation allows you to be. But in your situation now, you have to surrender that and realizing, all right, what's an extra couple minutes of a trip or whatever it is going to be, right? Like at the end of the day, that trade-off isn't going to really be that drastic, right? It's not like saying like, oh, this is going to cost me another 2 or 3 hours to do this. The trade-off is often very minimal, but people just try to find the shortest way between 2 points when that's not always the best route for what you got going on.
Yeah. And it's, for me, it's taken a long time, right? I'm still getting there. But I mean, yeah, that very well said. I think getting to the place of acceptance and knowing how to alter, adjust your life. And, we could go on and on about things that help, which, by the way, if anyone needs any advice, like, you can always reach out to either of us about certain, you know, products that help us or that we might think help you. But at the end of the day, and this will be my period to everything we said, it's self-care,
Mm-hmm.
what it is.
Exactly. And self-care looks different to everybody, and it should,
Yeah.
because as we mentioned before, like it's your recovery is not linear. So don't let anybody tell you it is.
Yeah. And, I mentioned, how today's, not my day. And that's okay. But us talking like about this stuff, it actually helps. So, like, I feel better than I did before we got on.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to talk, right? That's another at-home remedy, is talk it, write it, do it. Don't hold it in, because that will just manifest in other ways. For me, it has. And I'm looking forward to talking more about that, and hopefully bringing on a doctor, a specialist that I recently saw that was mind-blowing, validating, gave me a deep breath. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's dope.
Go on and on about this stuff.
No,
Really.
of course, and I think it's just kind of the perfect way to essentially close, I don't know, our chapter of, what we've had going on. And again, this doesn't mean we're going to stop telling our stories, because our stories aren't going to be finished anytime soon, but getting more people in here, right? And I think the reason I say that is because I want to extend the branch to our listeners out there in the comments of whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, YouTube. Let us know what y'all would like to hear about, right? Because odds are, we want to find the same thing too, because we want to keep this as inclusive as possible. So if you haven't enjoyed our journeys because you can't relate, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? Because we would love to have people like that, or find people like that to bring onto the show for this next season or next chapter or whatever it is that you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important because now we can get off of, who Eric and Chris are now.
Yeah.
So let's start bringing in people and introducing you all to people who have different ways of coping, or different ways of, their paths look a little different, and let us continue to build this community of what the Chronic Couch should and will be.
Dropped it. Dropped the mic, Chris.
I'll take it off right now.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that wraps it up for me.
No, same. Like I said, y'all rocking with us, 5 episodes in the books. I think this has been a very good, not only discussion, but an exploration of technology that allows us. We'll see how it, I guess, turns out on the flip side with on the back end side. But no, man, I'm excited. Like I said, this next season for us, really diving into our guests and bringing people on, and being able to have this type of medium is important, because it allows us to connect with people we want to bring on, people we haven't even met yet, and they can't just pull up to the crib. And, this allows us a little bit more flexibility with that. So, I'm excited to keeping this rocking. And again, thank you to everybody that's been rocking with us for these last 5 episodes. We're not sure what the future looks like, but we know it's going to be bright.
Yes,
And,
sir.
we're just going to keep showing up every day. And that's pretty much it. But episode 5 in the books, man. Next episode, we'll have an update on how my nerve transfer surgery went, and how my big toes no longer go down, but my foot raises up. So
well, I'm sending good vibes to you, man, always.
No, I appreciate that. Well, again, thank y'all for rocking with us, and we will catch y'all on the next episode.
See y'all.
Yep.